I'm sure that I might get some hate for this, but let me just be honest. Stop pestering your seniors. Please, can you do the case brief for me? What is that? What is that? No. No, it will not work. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is April and you are welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then check out the videos that you see on my channel page. If you like what you see, then of course subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click on the bell notification button to always be updated every time I post a new video. And if you are returning here, then thank you so much for returning. Today we are going to have a strictly academic styled video, so we are going to be talking about terrible study habits that some people have and why they should be avoided to basically be able to succeed in academics, get good grades, and all those good things. So stay with me if you want to find out these study habits and the mistakes that you should avoid doing in order to be successful in school. Before I get into the video, I would like to just make it clear that these are mistakes or terrible study habits which are based on me and based on research, so general research that I've done, so they might not necessarily apply to you. That is why you should watch this video and see, maybe some would apply to you, maybe some wouldn't. In reality, we are all different. So at the end of the day, what might be a terrible study habit to me might actually work perfectly for you. So keep that in mind whilst watching this video. So the very first thing that I would like to bring up is the mistake or the terrible habit of not knowing what you are doing or aimlessly wondering about your courses. So guys, university education is not easy. For every course, there are so many things that you have to read, so many references that you would have to check out, so many theories for law, so many cases, basically just a bunch of stuff, right? And a lot of people make this mistake, especially when they are freshers. That is basically just being in the state of being lost. So you are just reading stuff. You are reading stuff, you don't know the aim of what you are reading. You are just reading, you're just looking for cases, looking for textbooks, looking for materials, you just open them, you are reading, you're making notes, you don't know what you are doing. Naturally, at some point in time, most of the time, people get on some kind of track as the years goes on or as the months go on. But the earlier you are able to fix this problem, the easier everything will be for you. So basically what you need to do is you need to find out what exactly do you need to know. So the scope of what you need to know. Because honestly guys, there is no way you can read everything about a particular topic or a particular subject. There is no way you can go into details of certain theories, certain principles and all that. After all, you're not doing a particular research into a topic. That's for another video. So if you're doing your master's or if you're doing a long essay or a thesis or something, that's a bit of a different thing. I'm just talking about a standard bachelor's degree journey that you're undertaking. So in that case, naturally, you're not going to have the time to be able to go into detail on everything, on every subject, on every topic, on every course, right? So you have to know what to focus on. Otherwise, you're just going to be a mess. And the easiest way to get to know what exactly you're supposed to be studying is to go by the course outline. So every course has a course outline. And when you take the course outline, you can see the objectives of the course, what you have to know by the time you're done with the course, basically everything that's related to the course. So the course outline should be your guide. Once you start going off the course outline, it means you're already broadening the scope of the material. And I'm not saying that that information that you would get will not be useful, but just that at this particular point in your life, you might be wasting your time on certain things which might not be very necessary right now, rather than focusing on things which are actually very, very important. Now, the next mistake or bad study habit that I would like to talk about is multitasking. This applies mostly to online learning. People tend to multitask when they are at home or in their room, in a hall or hostel. Now, when it comes to multitasking, what I mean by that is, for example, you are listening to your lecture on Zoom and at the same time you're trying to read a book. Or you have your TV on or a movie, right? Okay, to be fair, people do that in class too. So you have a movie on or you have music on, you have TV in the background, your friend is talking, you're trying to listen to your friend. All of this, at the end of the day, lowers your productivity. Now, this doesn't mean that you might not be able to succeed at multitasking, But the reality is that when you multitask, your brain is not in actuality focusing on two things at the same time. It's not. It switches from one thing to another thing. And naturally, unless you're superhuman, it would be very, very difficult for your productivity to be at its best. So the best thing, of course, to do is to focus on one thing at a time. No one is saying you can't watch TV. No one is saying you can't talk with a friend. No one is saying you can't listen to music. Even though, to be fair, some people prefer some light, music in the background, which would give like an ambience. That might be okay, but listening to Shatta Wale or something like that whilst trying to study or to listen to your lecturer is not exactly the best. The third mistake some people do when it comes to studying is passive studying. So basically, we have passive studying and we have active studying. When it comes to passive studying, most of the people who do that are people who do reading courses. So they get into this habit of just reading. So you go to the library, right? And then you take a book. And all you do is read. By the end of that your reading period, you wouldn't have gotten anything, or you would have gotten very, very little information in your head and very little understanding. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't read, but there has to be an active element in your studying, whether it is taking notes whilst reading, or taking notes after reading, or using flashcards, making flashcards, to help in your studying. If you're just the reader type, right, you can incorporate active studying by narrating whatever it is that you read to your friend, discussing topics, subjects, whatever it is that you read with a study group, rewriting stuff from memory or writing things in your own words. That is what we call active studying. So there are lots of techniques, I've just mentioned some of them, but basically it's not just reading or not just taking notes. It's incorporating certain steps which keep your brain active. The next mistake that I would like to point out that some students do, which honestly does not help them, is taking the easy way out. So focusing on courses that are easy or subjects that are easy, subjects that they are good at, topics that they like. Trust me, ignorance is not bliss. And you are wasting your time by rereading things you already understand, by solving past questions of the same type. So let me just give an example. Let's say you really like the topic of intention to create legal relations under contract law, right? You are good at it, you understand it, you're well versed in that topic. Instead of you to focus reading and solving past questions and tackling tutorial questions in relation to the topic of consideration, which you actually have a problem with, you keep reading intention to create legal relations. Or you keep talking about that topic because that is what you like and that is what you are good at. You keep solving questions which are related to intention to create legal relations. You are too scared to focus on questions that are related to consideration because you don't like the topic of consideration, or you don't want to deal with consideration because it's too difficult for you. This can apply to certain courses. So for example, you don't like criminal law. You've labeled criminal law as this is the course that I don't like, so I'm not going to tackle it. I'll rather focus on thoughts because I like thoughts. Guys, the reality is that you honestly don't know which questions are going to come on exam, what exactly you'll be examined on, or even ask the question on in class. You don't know which particular areas you'll be questioned on, honestly. And the reality is that you probably would never know. Sometimes lecturers say one thing that, they'll bring this, they'll bring that. In the end, they can bring something different. I myself have experienced this, so I know what I'm talking about. So focus your attention on the courses or the topics which you have difficulty in. If contract law comes easy to you, dedicate most of your time to criminal law, which you're struggling with. And the last mistake or terrible study habits that I would like to point out in this video, that is pestering your seniors or expecting your seniors to do your work for you. Now, let me clarify. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask a senior for help. That's not what I'm saying. You should absolutely ask a senior for guidance, for advice, and for help. What I'm just saying in this video is that I've noticed that there are quite a number of people, most of the time these people are freshmen, who have this particular expectation that first of all, a senior owes them a duty to reply their messages and to solve questions for them. This is something that I have never understood because I've also been a freshman, right? And I never asked a senior to do my work for me. What is that habit? Like, I just don't understand. Right now, I'm not in school anymore. And I have people who message me. Now, of course, I have people who ask me for help. I'm separating them from those people who, first of all, feel entitled. Like, if, for example, I haven't replied your message in about 6 or 7 hours, these people will keep on texting, or they will actually call me and be like, oh, you haven't answered my this, and that. Meanwhile, honestly, I do work and I do have things going on. So sometimes I might delay with answering, but you're asking me for help. So like, you could just be a bit more patient. I don't know. And it's also the attitude that some people express when they do that. But even that's kind of besides the point. The main issue here is when you ask a senior to do your work for you. For example, let's say if you're studying law and there is a problem question, you send the problem question to the senior and you'll be like, what are the issues? Like, you want the senior to do the work for you. You want the senior to identify the issues and solve them for you. Listen, the reality is that seniors have their own work to do, okay? And most of them would not be willing or would just not have the time and the energy to be solving all your questions for you. Now, of course, there are different kinds of people. So you might find a senior here or there who would be willing to actually solve the question for you. But the thing is that hurts you more. It might actually in one way or the other help the senior because they're able to refresh their memory on that particular topic or that particular subject, but it's to your detriment because you are not learning. You are honestly not learning. What you should be asking the senior is, how do I go about this? So let's say it's a question, let's say it's an essay question or it's a problem question. What you should be asking is, how do I go about this? Like, should I, bring definitions, or like, how is the structure supposed to be like, right? Or what should I be referencing? So that's perfectly okay. And I answer these kinds of questions all the time. But I've literally had people even ask me something like this. Can you summarize Act 29 for me in less than 2 pages? What? I'm not saying that someone might not do that. There might be someone who will do it. Again, mostly to their benefit than to yours. When you are a freshman, you have to try your best to do everything yourself. It's a learning process. You are in university to learn, not to find people who do the work for you. Otherwise, what's going to happen is this stereotype of people graduating from university and not knowing jack. Excuse my language, but honestly, some people graduate from university, they don't know anything. And I'm just wondering, like, what were you doing in university? Because I came to university to learn certain skills. I came to university to learn how to think for myself. I came to university to learn how to solve problems, whether it is legal problems or just general world problems. And if I don't put in the effort to do it myself, then how am I ever going to learn? So you should think about these things whilst you're in school. Don't just think about, oh, there's an easy solution for this problem. Let me just ask my friend who is a senior. You have to keep in mind that people are people and you are responsible for your work. You can ask for help, you can ask for advice, but don't ask someone to do the work for you. So we've come to the end of this video and I hope you learned something from it. I hope you can take away something from it and I hope it will help you in your studies, whether it is in-person studies or online at home studies, whatever the case may be. So I wish you all the best and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!